Ladies and gentlemen, every morning you wake up is not an accident, it is an announcement. It is heaven declaring that your assignment on earth is not finished. Too many people rise from their beds burdened by yesterday, intimidated by today, and uncertain about tomorrow. But I came to remind you, victory is not something you chase, it is something you unlock. And the key is already in your hands. In Isaiah 43, God speaks with unmistakable authority. Fear not, for I have redeemed you. I have called you by your name. You are mine. That is not poetry. That is identity. That is ownership. That is a divine declaration that you are not abandoned, not forgotten, and certainly not defeated. You don't wake up to fight for victory. You wake up from victory. But here is the challenge. Many people are living beneath their privilege because they have not aligned their mornings with their purpose. The first voice you listen to each day will determine the direction of your life. If you listen to fear, you will walk in defeat. If you listen to doubt, you will shrink your potential. But if you listen to God, you will unlock a dimension of power that cannot be explained by human logic. Prayer is not a ritual, it is a realignment. Identity is the foundation upon which every lasting victory is built. A person who does not know who they are will constantly struggle to understand what they deserve, what they can achieve, and what they should tolerate. When identity is unclear, fear easily takes control, and doubt begins to dictate decisions. But when identity is established, when you truly understand that you are chosen, redeemed, and called by God, something shifts within you. You stop reacting to life as a victim and start responding as someone who carries authority and purpose. This is exactly what is revealed in Isaiah 43, where God declares that you are His. That statement alone dismantles insecurity because it places your worth not in opinions, failures, or circumstances, but in divine ownership. And when God claims you, no external force has the right to define you. Many people are trying to win battles externally while losing the war internally. They pursue success, recognition, and approval, hoping those things will validate them. Yet they still feel empty because identity was never established. Victory cannot be sustained when it is built on unstable foundations. It is not what you achieve that secures your confidence. It is what you believe about yourself before the achievement ever comes. When you know who you are no longer desperate for validation, and that frees you to operate with clarity and boldness. You begin to walk into situations not asking, "Do I belong here?" but declaring, "I was created for this." That level of conviction silences intimidation and unlocks a different kind of courage. Understanding your identity also changes how you interpret challenges. Instead of seeing obstacles as proof of weakness, you begin to see them as opportunities to demonstrate the strength that already resides within you. If God says you are His, then every situation you face must align with that truth. Fear may still appear, but it no longer has authority over your actions. You move forward not because everything is easy, but because you are certain. And certainty is powerful. It stabilizes your emotions, sharpens your focus, and fuels your persistence. When identity is secure, victory becomes a natural outcome. You are no longer striving to prove your worth. You are living from it. You speak differently, think differently, and act differently because you are rooted in something unshakable. The world may try to label you. Circumstances may try to limit you, and past experiences may try to remind you of failure. But none of those voices can override the truth of who you are in God. And once that truth is fully embraced, you don't chase victory anymore. You walk in it with confidence, consistency, and unshakable faith. Morning alignment is one of the most overlooked yet powerful principles for living a life of purpose and consistency. The way you begin your day is not a small detail. It is a decisive moment that sets the tone for everything that follows. Many people wake up and immediately surrender their attention to distractions, noise, and external demands, never realizing that they have handed over control of their day before it even truly begins. What you give your mind to in the first moments of the morning will shape your thoughts, influence your emotions, and ultimately determine your actions. If your morning starts with confusion, rush, and anxiety, your day will likely reflect the same pattern. But when your morning begins with intentional alignment, through prayer, reflection, and focus, create a foundation that produces clarity, stability, and direction. Dharmanism means bringing your mind, your spirit, and your purpose into agreement before you engage with the world. It is not about performing a ritual. It is about establishing order within yourself. When you take time in the morning to connect with God, you are not just speaking words, you are positioning yourself to receive guidance, strength, and perspective. You are reminding yourself that your life is not random and that your day has meaning beyond tasks and responsibilities. This moment of connection allows you to step into the day with awareness rather than reaction. Instead of being driven by pressure, you are led by purpose. There is a significant difference between people who start their day intentionally and those who drift into it. Those who drift are constantly catching up, constantly reacting, and constantly feeling behind. But those who align themselves early operate from a place of control and confidence. They have already settled their fears, clarified their priorities, and strengthened their mindset before the challenges even appear. This is why morning alignment determines momentum, because momentum is not created in the middle of chaos. It is established at the beginning of clarity. When your spirit is anchored and your mind is focused, you carry a different energy throughout the day. You are less easily shaken by unexpected situations because you have already grounded yourself in truth. You are more decisive because you are not clouded by doubt. You are more resilient because you are not relying solely on your own strength. That early investment of time produces a return that touches every area of your life, your work, your relationships, and your personal growth. Consistency in morning alignment builds discipline, and discipline builds momentum. Over time, these small daily decisions compound into a life that is directed rather than scattered. You begin to notice that you are not just getting through your days, you are making progress, moving forward with intention, and living with greater confidence. It all begins with how you start. When you align yourself each morning, you don't just prepare for the day. You take control of its direction and unlock the potential within it. God's presence is not a distant idea or a symbolic comfort. It is an active, sustaining reality that surrounds and secures those who trust in Him. Many people associate protection with the absence of trouble, believing that if God is with them, they should never face difficulty. But the truth revealed in Isaiah 43 is far deeper and far more powerful. It does not promise that you will avoid the waters or escape the fire. It promises that when you go through them, you will not be overwhelmed. This shifts the entire perspective on protection. It is not about exemption from challenges, but preservation in the midst of them. God's presence does not remove every obstacle, but it ensures that no obstacle has the power to destroy you. When you truly understand this, fear begins to lose its authority over your life. Fear thrives on uncertainty and the belief that you are alone in facing what comes against you. But when you are convinced that God is with you, guiding, strengthening, and covering you, your response to adversity changes. You may still feel pressure, but you are not paralyzed by it. You may still encounter opposition, but you are not defined by it. There is a quiet confidence that develops within you, not because everything around you is stable, but because you know the one who is with you is unchanging. God's presence also brings a sense of assurance that cannot be manufactured by human effort. People often try to create security through control, controlling outcomes, controlling people, or controlling circumstances. But true security does not come from control. It comes from trust. When you trust that God is present, you release the burden of trying to manage everything on your own. You begin to understand that your life is not dependent solely on your strength, your intelligence, or your ability to predict what will happen next. Instead, it is sustained by a power that is greater than anything you will ever face. This awareness transforms how you move through life. You become more courageous in your decisions because you are not driven by fear of failure. You become more resilient in difficult seasons because you are not easily shaken by temporary setbacks. Even in moments when things seem uncertain, there is a stability within you that cannot be explained by external circumstances. That stability is the result of knowing that you are never navigating life alone. Protection through God's presence does not always look dramatic or immediate, but it is constant and reliable. Sometimes it is seen in doors that close to prevent harm, in strength that rises when you feel weak, or in peace that holds you steady when everything around you feels chaotic. It is a protection that works both visibly and invisibly, guarding your life in ways you may not always recognize in the moment. When you fully embrace the reality of God's presence, you stop living cautiously and start living confidently. You understand that while challenges may come, they cannot conquer you. You are not exposed, you are covered. You are not vulnerable, you are secured. And with that assurance, you move forward not in fear, but in faith, knowing that wherever you go, His presence goes with you, guaranteeing a protection that never fails. Victory is often misunderstood as something distant, something to be chased, earned, or finally reached after a long struggle. Many people live their lives in constant pursuit, believing that one day, after enough effort, they will arrive at a place called success, peace, or fulfillment. But this mindset creates exhaustion because it positions victory as something outside of you rather than something already made available to you. The truth is, victory is not something you spend your life running after. It is something you unlock by understanding what has already been given to you. This shift in perspective changes everything because it moves you from striving to confidence, from uncertainty to assurance. When you see victory as something to be pursued, you become dependent on circumstances to validate your progress. If things go well, you feel victorious. If they do not, you feel defeated. Your emotional state rises and falls based on external outcomes, leaving you unstable and uncertain. But when you understand that victory is already established through God's promises, your confidence is no longer tied to what is happening around you. Instead, it is rooted in what has been declared over you. This means that even in difficult moments, you do not see yourself as losing. You see yourself as progressing through a process that cannot ultimately defeat you. Ulking victory requires alignment in your thinking and your beliefs. It means choosing to agree with what God says about you rather than what circumstances suggest. This is not denial of reality. It is a higher perspective on reality. You acknowledge the challenges, but you refuse to let them define the outcome. Your words begin to reflect this belief. Your actions begin to follow it, and over time, your life begins to demonstrate it. Victory is activated when your internal world comes into agreement with divine truth. There is also a responsibility that comes with this understanding. If victory is already available, then you must take intentional steps to access it. This is where faith, discipline, and consistency come into play. Faith allows you to see beyond the present moment. Discipline keeps you aligned with what you believe. And consistency ensures that you do not drift back into old patterns of doubt and fear. These are the keys that unlock what is already yours. Without them, you may have access to victory, but you will not experience it fully. Living from victory rather than for victory changes how you approach every area of life. You no longer hesitate in the face of opportunity because you are not afraid of failure. You no longer shrink back in difficult situations because you are not questioning your ability to overcome. There is a boldness that develops when you are convinced that the outcome is already secured. You move forward with clarity, persistence, and resilience, knowing that setbacks are temporary, but your foundation is permanent. When this truth becomes real to you, life takes on a different rhythm. You stop chasing and start walking with purpose. You stop striving and start trusting. Victory is no longer a distant goal. It becomes a present reality that you step into daily. And once you learn how to unlock it, you realize it was never out of reach. It was simply waiting for you to believe, align, and act accordingly. Victory is not a distant destination. It is a daily decision rooted in who you are, how you begin, what you believe, and who walks with you. When your identity is secure, your mornings are aligned, your confidence is anchored in God's presence, and your mindset shifts from chasing victory to unlocking it, your life begins to reflect a different standard. You are no longer moved by fear or controlled by circumstances. You are guided by purpose and sustained by promise. Now the responsibility is yours. Do not leave these truths as inspiration. Turn them into action. Starting tomorrow morning, choose alignment over distraction, truth over doubt, and faith over fear. Speak what God says about you, walk like it is already done, and refuse to settle for less than what has been promised. Step into your day with authority. Live intentionally and unlock the victory that is already yours.